What is going on, investors? Back again. Time to talk about Peloton, ticker symbol PTON, the maker of the fitness bikes and the treadmills, and just a fantastic company, at least from a stock perspective. This stock is up massively here this year. We see in the after hours giving back a little bit of an unlucky number here, but look, it just wipes out the gain that we had during the regular session. $36 billion market cap. Okay, we don't got a PE ratio yet, although when we jump into the financials, we'll see. Take a look. Spoiler alert, we made a little bit of money from income from operations here, so that's an interesting one. We'll talk about that when we jump into the financials. We'll talk about just in general the quarter. We'll take a look at some graphs. I don't normally look at graphs, but there's an interesting trend here that we see going on, or maybe a potential trend with Peloton. And then finally, we'll jump over to the stock chart. Okay, we obviously made these all-time highs. We've retraced a little bit. Now we're trading right here, right where my cursor is. So I'll show you the levels where I'd like to jump in here on Peloton. Now, they had a really nice quarter, at least from a subscriber growth perspective. Revenue, everything looked really good, and I think we can expect that with Peloton. They've got momentum behind their product. And while they have competition, look, treadmills and bikes and even online workouts and things like that, you can get on YouTube and find workouts. Okay, Peloton, just for whatever reason, just has a really nice brand and wraps it up in a nice little package that people seem to really like. And so there is something there with Peloton. I think they have a very, very good brand. And I think maybe investors, at least earlier in the year, probably underestimated it. Now they've obviously realized it because the stock has gone bananas. Now, from a product perspective, obviously they've got the bike, they've got some cheaper models. I think from the treadmill perspective, I was actually looking at, I like to run. I was looking at buying this one. I checked out the reviews. The reviews aren't super hot on this, and it's about a $5,000 treadmill, $4,500 treadmill. I don't mind paying that much because it benefits your health and things like that. It's not that much money for a piece of equipment you probably use almost every day, but they're coming out with a new one that's $2,500. And so even if the reviews aren't stellar on that, well, look, it's basically half the price. So this will be an interesting product. This will come out next year. I'm on the wait list. Or getting updates on this. What I'm looking to see is like the availability of this. When I want one, say it comes out in January, February, or sometime in Q1, will I be able to get one right away, or will I have to wait weeks and weeks and weeks on that? I think that'll be a key to Peloton. I've heard people have to wait a long time for their products, and then even on these treadmills, they get them and they're not quite to the build quality that you expect for this type of price tag. So I think Peloton actually has some room for improvement, believe it or not. So if they're able to shore all that up, I think just from a product nuance perspective, probably has some things that they can improve on. Connected fitness subscriptions, we see just on a straight line up, although it's flattened out. I wouldn't say flattened out, but connected fitness subscription is looking good. What was interesting is actually this quarterly workouts. We actually see quarterly workouts down. So we have connected fitness subscriptions up. Quarterly workouts actually went down a little bit. So that'll be interesting to see, or not down, it was like flat. Okay. So that's interesting. If it's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay. But you would expect this number to continue to go up. Otherwise, maybe churn starts to be a factor in the connected fitness subscriptions, because look, if people are paying whatever it is, $30 or $40 a month for their Peloton subscription and they're not using it, well, some of them will probably start to cancel. Again, here it is from a graphical perspective, average workout monthly per sub. We've seen it's come down before, and we had this huge spike when everybody's at home, everybody's locked up. Well, it's easy to get on your bike. I think it's explainable that people have went back to work, or for the most part, some people have gone back to work, and here we are. It flattened out a little bit, still at this elevated range. I'd like to see for subsequent quarters, if things continued in the United States and hopefully around the world, things get better, will people still work out at this rate, or will we come back to where they're doing like once every couple days type of workout? Whereas this is a pretty regular workout, quite frankly. And then we see quarterly revenue, which we'll see reflected in the financials. It is obviously on a nice straight line up, just like the stock chart. Now, here we go. We've got our statement of operations here. They give us only a 3-month view. Come on, Peloton, give us a 3 and a 9 month. Obviously, maybe on a full 10Q, they'd probably do that. So here's 3 months ended here, and you can pull that up yourself, but for the sake of these videos, we won't. So revenue here, we've got their connected fitness products. This is the treadmills and the bikes. We went from 160 up to 601. These are in millions, so this is $600 million. Look at that growth. You went from 160 to 601. Let's take a look at the gross margins on these. So we've got connected fitness products. We spent 364 to make 600. That's pretty solid margins. I'm not 100% familiar with like workout equipment margins, but I would expect this is actually pretty good. And so 90, I wonder if it includes logistics as well, actually delivering the product as well. That'd be interesting. Or if that comes down here in like maybe a general and administrative, but anyways, or maybe even sales and marketing. We've got 93 in the previous period to make 106. Those margins look like they're holding up on the connected fitness product side. From the subscription side, even juicier. Okay, we went from 67 up to 156. Again, you can subscribe, I believe, to Peloton without owning the bike or the treadmill, and so there might be a little overlap here as well. It's definitely a business. You could say, well, look, only so many people are going to want the bike and the treadmill, and I get that for sure, especially even at a $2,000 price tag for a treadmill. That's a lot of money for most people. But you can subscribe to their service without necessarily owning the equipment. So I think that's kind of interesting. These margins are fantastic. They spent 65 to make 156. Previous period, we spent 30 to make 67. Just phenomenal margins. So we've got total cost of revenue. We spent 429 to make 757. That gives us a gross profit of 328 million. We do have other expenses, but they are actually doing, I can't believe I'm saying this, they are doing a very, very nice job. I'm not saying that they would never do this. I didn't think I would say this early with Peloton, is they are starting to flatten out these expenses, and they are looking really good to me. We went from 156 up to 259. That's about $100 million. But keep in mind that we added about a little over $500 million to our top line. We added about $225 million to our gross profit. So to only, and I say only, it's a lot of money, but only add $100 million to our operating expenses, guys, that's pretty solid. And guess what that added up to? An absolutely blowout winter quarter where we had income from operations at 60, we'll round it up to a lucky number, $69 million. That proves very favorably to losing $50 million or $51 million in the previous period. So we've made a profit in Peloton. And quite frankly, I think their business is lined up to probably continue this. Like, yes, sales and marketing will go up a little bit. These other costs will go up, but their products, they seem to have dialed in at the margins that they're at. And I just can see this company probably churning out a profit in the next quarter as well. Let's see how well capitalized. Not as important with this business. They just IPO'd, so you figure, not just IPO, but they're recent IPOs. So you got to figure they're pretty healthy. We got 1.4 on the top of the balance sheet here. We've got some marketable securities as well. All in all, we got about, we'll call that $2 billion worth of cash, 2.5 in total current assets, total liabilities, all of them added up together, 1.67. So we could wipe out all our liabilities with straight cash, homie, right now. So this is a very, very financially secure company. Now, from a chart perspective, everything looks pretty good. Okay, obviously this stock, monster run. Okay, just a massive monster run. So I don't blame you if you're like, I don't want any a part of this, the stock's gotten away from you. I get it, okay? And if you're not big on the story or the brand or whatever, I'd be more excited about the Peloton brand than necessarily anything else, but also the fact that they turned an operating profit this quickly. I don't necessarily think a lot of investors were necessarily anticipating that to the fullest degree. So here we go. Here we were at here today. The stock is sold off, like I said, in the after hours, basically just gave back where we were. We kind of just stalled out here. So bearish sign is that we made a top here, all-time top here. We were in a downtrend. We had a rebound. We hit this line. I'm going to call this like a line of support here. We hit that, bounced up. Now, unfortunately, it looks like we could make a lower high here. Now, that could be a race. The stock could come rally back up. This market's on absolute fire right now. And so you'd like to see us retest these highs on Peloton at some point, right at the 137, 138, close to 140 range. Okay. The later that it does that and it wants to pull back, I think the more better odds we have, I don't know if that's great English, but the better odds that we have of hitting this box here, to me, right where our 50-day moving average is moving in. And again, this is on a daily chart. If you looked at a weekly or monthly, you might come to a slightly different conclusion than this. But here's my box, anywhere from $100 a share up to 110 to me, where I'd be really interested in this. Again, we're about $7, $8 off from that point where I personally would want to step in. I'd want to step in close to where this moving average is, right about 105. As we see, if we zoom out this chart, this moving average has just been, the stock hasn't traded under the moving average in, since April. And we know what was happening back in those times. And it barely traded under it, obviously, during the height of the health situation. This stock was a $20 stock, and now it's at close to 120. So it just shows you how quickly things can turn around. Boy, if you blink an eye, stocks can get away from you. Some of you might have seen that this week as well with how fast the market's been ripping. But here's my zone with Peloton. If you want to jump in there and buy it, again, I'll definitely be a customer of this company here when this cheaper model comes out. I don't call $2,500 treadmill cheap, but it's definitely cheaper than $5,000. So that's Peloton for you. I love the brand. I think that's probably, even at a $36 billion valuation, it's probably undervalued a little bit just from a brand perspective. I'm not saying the stock's undervalued. I'm saying that the brand of Peloton, in my opinion, is a very, very, very strong brand. And if they're able to cultivate that and massage that and use that to their advantage, this is a company that can start really integrating lots of other stuff into their model. We'll see if they're able to do that. I think just the bikes and the treadmill and the fitness subscription and some of the other things they sell, like the weight bands and things like that, are just just scratching the surface at what a brand like this could accomplish. We'll see if they're able to get there, because that would definitely push this valuation up over the top and help the stock go even higher than it is. Leave me a comment down below. What do you think about Peloton? Do you own one? Do you want to own one? Do you think the stock's overvalued? Do you think it's undervalued? Let me know in the comments below. We'll see you guys again very soon. Good luck with your investments.